Building the Pyramids Busted. Building the Pyramids Busted is the second video of the series, which tries to answer how did they build the pyramids of Egypt, showing that it is possible to build the Great Pyramid and all the other pyramids at Giza without the help of mysterious aliens.
Hi, I've revisited this video to add what I found moving block with life-size equipment. It shows that it's definitely possible to construct the Great Pyramid. With a lot of the pyramid's volume finished in the first part, I looked to see if it's feasible to haul 30 and 40 ton blocks above the relieving chambers, completing the inside of the pyramid before completing the very top with blocks in the 2 to 2.5 ton range. I asked, will the pyramid's height affect the number of builders required on the ramps? Towards the end I briefly show that by lowering a small weight, a larger weight can be brought up vertically. This vertical weight gain is interesting. So there's a bit coming up, so you might as well sit back and relax and see if these ideas really solve how the pyramids could have been constructed. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please comment. Let's get on with the video.
7.5 degrees.
Here we have a 7.5 degree incline. It's slightly steeper than the 2 degree incline. This time we have 13 tons being pulled by 3 tons. So let's give it a go. So, yeah. And that's it.
Before I go any further, a friend pulled 0.25 tons up a 7.5 degree ramp with the rope over the large circumference, which would equal 52 men for a 13 ton block. Over the smaller circumference, twice this was easily pulled up by myself. Knowing how easy this was, I can easily assume that it would take less than 20 men in real life. To move 13 tons up the 7.5 degree slope took 3 tons. A pulling force of 3 tons for 13 tons equates to a ratio of 4.33. 3 ton would equate to 20 men pulling on a rope. So theoretically, to pull a 40 ton block up the ramp would take a pulling force of 9.23 tons. This requiring 62 men. Because the 7.5 degree ramp is still relatively flat, I've increased the force needed to move a 40 ton block by 60%. This now involves 100 men. Is there enough room for these men on the ramp? Can the pitch of the ramp gain enough height to place the block? Is it possible to get 100 tons to this height? Length of ramp at finish height 38 metres. 38 divided by 0.75 metres spacing equals 50. Again, my answer is yes. 50 times 2 size equals 100 men. This shows that a 7.5 degree ramp could spiral up on the outside of the pyramid. The ramp sat on stone protrusions and then cut back flush to the other casing stones when finished. Another way would be to use blocks underneath the ramps all the way to the top of the pyramid, and engineer the equipment right to suit the corners.
Right, that's the 2 and 7.5 degree ramps out of the way. Time to look at the top section.
13 degrees. The 13 degree ramp can reach this height. Pulling force of 4.25 for 13 equals a ratio of 3.05. 4.25 ton would equate to 29 men pulling on a rope. So a 15 ton block up the ramp would take a pulling force of 4.92 ton. I've increased the force needed to move a 15 ton block by 35%. This now involves 46 men. There is enough room for the men on the ramp to this height. Just. Is it possible to get 15 tonnes to this height? Blocks you see at the top of the Great Pyramid, looking down from above, look smaller than 2 to 2.5 tonnes. But even if there was this weight, building the top of the Great Pyramid would not be a problem. Casing stones that once covered this section are said to weigh less than 15 tonnes, and that's why I've used this figure. So I will just leave the possible yes hanging there for now. 26 degrees. To move 13 tonnes up the 26 degree slope took 7.52 tonnes. A pulling force of 7.52 tonnes for 13 tonnes equals a ratio of 1.79. With an unknown increase of 25%, 13 men pulling on a rope would equate to a 2.5 tonne block being brought up the 26 degree slope. The pyramid is mainly made up of blocks in the 2.5 tonne range. You might want to get these blocks up quick, so a 26 degree slope would be feasible for these small blocks. 52 degrees. To move 13 tonnes up the 52 degree slope took 12 tonnes. 12 tonnes for 13 tonnes equals a ratio of 1.08. A 25 tonne block up the side would take 154 men. With a 5% increase in force, this involves 162 men. This now makes it possible to bring a 15 tonne block up to this height.
In my opinion, again, it's possible. Bringing up the casings up the side would be the most difficult part. In the theory, I use what I call a lattice rig. This type of rig provides better results.
This type of rig needs 2.5 tonne less pulling force compared to the A-frame. This is to bring the 13 tonne block up the 52 degree slope. A 25 tonne block would be pulled up by 64 men either side of the rollers. The figures include a 5% increase. Considering the effort in getting the casing stones up the pyramid, I do like the idea of the 7.5 degree spiral on the outside, regardless of how much stone has to be cut back flush. The spiral would make it easier to get the casing stones up. Comparing the test carried out with life-size equipment, a 15 tonne casing stone would take 60 men and less than 30 men if a smaller circumference was used. The life-size spool has a diameter of 670 mm. The small circumference a diameter of 220 mm. If the spool had a diameter of 1.5 metres and was used at the very top of the pyramid, 20 men would easily get a 15 tonne casing stone up. The spools you see here have a diameter of 3.5 metres. The framework could be designed better, wrapping around the top of the pyramid, housing all the spools together. So yeah, using these large spools, there isn't a problem at all in building the pyramids, and I mean that and know it. Look at this, me pulling over half a tonne, and I reckon I could have easily pulled 1 tonne if fit enough to do so. So for me and my friends involved in this life-size test, the pyramids of Egypt are busted.
Unfortunately, I have to stop here, otherwise the video is just going to get too boring. Aww. But before I go, alongside me is a 13 tonne block being pulled straight up in the air by 10.25 tonne. There's no friction on the rollers involved here.
There is the weight of the spool, but 0.25 tonne pulls the spool back up. That's a 2.5 tonne gain. There must be a lot more that could be done using this.
This demonstrates just how well this rig works and how all the figures given previously using the airframe could be reduced by over 20%. So the question is, could the Great Pyramid be built like this? My answer is yes, and I hope I've done my job displaying this. I also hope you liked the video. If you've liked what you've seen, well, give it a like and subscribe for future videos. Anyhow, until next time, bye from Mike, and keep your dreams alive.
Music, Paul Johnston.